I went to Australia, well, nearly 8 years ago. I was only gonna travel for 3 months by myself. I was living in an apartment above the bar that he was working at, and I thought he looked a bit cute.
She caught my eye, obviously, and then we got to know each other. And
then we ended up going on a date, and it was only gonna be like a summer thing. But I kind of liked him, so I extended the stay a little bit longer with a month.
So I knew something was there because we just talked till the morning. I just knew straight away there was something there, and then our relationship developed from there. So it was a bit kind of weird because I've never met anyone from this part of the world or even had an interest in them. So to meet someone like Louise was definitely a new experience.
And then I went home to Denmark, and we still kept in contact, and we would like to still be together, but we didn't really know how and what we should do. He booked the ticket and he came up for a month and met my family and saw Denmark for the first time.
I met her family, which was very nerve-wracking because I didn't know what to expect, and she had told me that her mother wasn't so good at English, and I was really just throwing myself out there, but I thought, why not? It's just one of those things. I'll never know till I try.
And then I decided to go back to Australia with him. And so we moved down there. And lived there for a while, and then moved over to New Zealand, closer to his family. And now we're here. And then going back to New Zealand again at the end of the year. So a bit of nomads.
My family is actually from the Pacific Islands in a small nation, Western Samoa. And they moved to New Zealand for a better life for myself and my brothers and sisters. So we were raised in New Zealand and in Australia actually as well. So we've kind of been raised by two nations.
I'm born in Sweden. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, and my dad, he was always working, traveling and working. And my mom is Danish. So after a while, my mom wanted to move back to Denmark, and my dad got a job here in Copenhagen. So we moved back to Denmark when I was 9, and lived here ever since.
New Zealand and Australia is very far away from the rest of the world, so generally Australia and New Zealanders are only ever going to travel to the Pacific Islands or possibly Thailand or something like that, and maybe do a big trip to Europe or something like that. So for me to be up here is like me flying to the moon. Some of my friends and family see that actually because it's so far away, and they have to Google things about Denmark and stuff like that.
Denmark doesn't have that much culture, not compared to where he's from. And he always says, "Oh, I wish there were more brown people around here." So he says that, and also just how him and his family does it. Like, you don't have to arrange to be together. You just pop around someone's house and then you have a dinner together or whatever you do. Here it's very arranged and planned. And
culture is based around very God-fearing culture. We're all, the missionaries came to our Pacific Islands and began to preach the word of God and stuff like that. So we're always very tight anyway from Pacific Island families. There's always big families, always a lot of brothers and sisters. And I think when we lived in New Zealand actually before we came here, Louise was finding it difficult because all of my friends and family would just randomly come over and fill the house up with all my nephews and nieces and decide that they want to stay.
There's been a lot of years where I've had the Western Europe mentality where everything has to be like on time, and you have to like clean up, and if you have your family over for dinner, everything has to be tidied, tablecloth on the tables, cutlery and everything like that. Whereas Steve, he's always late. And he's always a bit messy, and if we have family coming over for dinner, he's like, no, that's okay, we'll just figure out what we have in the fridge.
I think moving to Denmark, Louise was very worried that I wouldn't feel very welcome here, so she tried really hard for me to meet her girlfriends, boyfriends and things like that, which is really nice, and all of them are really, really, really nice guys. But to be honest, I've actually kind of just find that, you know, I can be friends with them, but I can't be, you know, it's not the first person I'm going to ring as a Danish person. If you don't know the language, then you don't quite fit in quite well. I feel that way, and sometimes whether Danish people realize it or not, they kind of make you feel like, you know, you're just not really quite there yet, so you kind of push to the side.
I've never met them before, obviously, and I've never talked to them on the phone before we came to New Zealand. They're a family of 5, and we had a small little bedroom there, and it was all of a sudden I had all this family around me, and I felt like I've known them forever from the first day. So welcoming and down to earth, and yeah, it was really, really nice. But I think Steve has had a bit harder time up here. You know, yeah, of course he was welcome and they love him, but he had to prove himself a little bit before he felt more welcome.
Maybe their family, because they had organised, such lovely family, they organised the dinner and stuff for me to come and meet them. And when we were going to the house, I was worried about tattoos, and I was like, oh, you know, how are they gonna, should I cover up or?
When I moved back to Denmark, I always have this uneasy feeling where I'm stressed, and I can see Steve is becoming the same after 3 years in Denmark now. He's turning more and more into a Danish person, even though he doesn't want to, and he probably doesn't know. He's starting to worry a lot more and stressing about things that he would never stress about before. And what I love about him is that he is like, well, it will work out and we'll always find a way. And but I can see that some things, he never used to worry about money or anything like that, but that's what he starts to worry a little bit about now. So I don't think he's aware of it, but I can see it.
I've got it quite easy with having Louise as a Danish girlfriend, because New Zealand women can be quite headstrong and would rather be the head of everything. Definitely more traditional, as they would, you know, very, not so much in the kitchen, but let the man do everything, which is, you know, I've always been brought up through my families, you know, the man should be a very traditional manly role, you know, supplying and security and everything like that.
Steve's family is quite a modern Samoan New Zealand family, but there is at times where, especially for family dinners or anything like that, it is still common that the women are in the kitchen cooking and doing all the prepping, and the men are often outside talking about stuff, barbecuing or whatever. And I'm always used to hanging out with the guys outside, or, you know, everyone helping out, of course, but it's that's a thing that I'm still learning, that I have to be in the kitchen often.
I think we work out quite well. But she's not that good in the kitchen and I am. I'm not very good at cleaning and she likes to clean. So it's a perfect relationship, actually.
And now he's lived here, and now we're going back, and now we both have a better understanding. And I think for any couple that is like we are, from 2 different countries or 2 different worlds even sometimes, I think it's quite important to try and at least give it a chance and live in the other person's country.
In my culture, if you're from, you know, where I'm from, you're only ever going to marry into that culture because you understand each other, and a very small percentage of where I'm from would actually be with a European woman or something like that. I couldn't imagine myself anybody from my own background, with Australia, New Zealand, or Samoa or anything like that. She doesn't. She thinks that, oh no, they're staying at someone else. But whether I'm being a bit too paranoid or I'm just aware of a little, you know, half-second glares, and I think, oh, there's people staring at me, whether it's a good thing or not. But we definitely stand out as you know, as a couple. I think we look different, we act different. So
I've always been the odd one out. I always wanted to experience a lot of things and travel, and so I guess it's not a coincidence really that I've met Steve and we're a couple now and still traveling.
It took quite a while for me to settle into where I'm from, what I've been used to for 38 years of my life, to the past 8 years with Louise, you know, learning her culture and things like that. So now that I've been here, I can understand what, you know, why Louise was so, you know, tight, and sometimes with my friends and family coming over. So there's been some cultural understanding there anyway.
It's just very easygoing, and that's what I like about him. That's what I'm learning to become. So the differences that we have, I'm trying to adapt more to him. And I think after him living in Denmark and can see where I come from and my culture, I think he's taking some of the things he probably was annoyed with me, but he kind of likes it more now. Those differences are good to have in a relationship, and I think that's what, if you can learn to like them or at least respect them, then I think that is a very good ground thing for a relationship, for being together for a long time, I think.